Welcome to SomewhatNerdy Radio. We are your hosts. I am Snarf Chris.
I'm Critter.
That's Critter.
I'm Critter.
I'm Snarf Chris.
That's right.
Welcome to the show. Go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the other social media things that we always tell you to go do and y'all don't do. Because fuck social media.
It's one of those things that I get sucked into, and then I'm like, why the fuck am I on here?
The only thing I use now is sometimes Twitter and TikTok.
Oh man, TikTok's so fun.
TikTok is fun. Anyway, go leave this podcast a review. I know everybody listens to the podcast. Not everybody leaves a review. It takes like 2 seconds to go do. It's very helpful to us, obviously. So go do that.
5-star it, thumbs up it, hearts.
Leave us something nice in the comments if you want to.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
It's nice for people to go do that.
Who doesn't like hearing compliments?
We're narcissistic enough to...
That's not true.
To think people want to hear our voice all the time.
First of all, you know that's not true, because if we were narcissists, like, man, I sound good. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, who's that piece of shit
I have to
talking?
edit this. I have to listen to our voice like while I'm talking to you, and then edit it, and then listen to it when the podcast comes out. So I hear this whole entire conversation like 4 times.
Just grating at that point. It is ugh.
But thank you for all the positive responses for the other podcasts. It's been nice hearing some people talk about our double features and our list and everything like that. And we're going to do a list on this podcast. What are we doing, Critter?
We are doing, I think we mentioned this before. We talk about it, I think, sporadically throughout the show's history. It's perfect movies. Like movies we feel are just perfect. The rewatchability, we think that everything, it's like they're timeless.
They don't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
There's no boring part. There's not like a bad shot. There's no bad dialogue. There's no bad acting.
And for the most part, they're timeless. Like, you watch them now, they're the same as they were then. And maybe that's jading, like a jaded perspective on our part, but there are times I watch old movies and I'm like, ew, why did I like that? But these movies, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
And we're going to, like, just right off the top, because some people that's listened to the podcast for a very long time probably has already guessed some of our movies. So we're going to take these movies off the plate completely right off the start, just so we don't have to talk about the movie again.
And if you listen to even the last show, you'll know which one, well, at least one we're talking about, and references throughout. But dear God, how many references we have to several shows throughout the instances of things. At least we don't go around, that's my favorite movie. You know, like saying like that's definitive, like these are the two we're about to get rid of for two of my favorite movies.
So the first one, obviously, as we talked about it on the last podcast, Terminator 2.
It's out.
Yeah, it's
just
out.
because it is perfect. We know it's perfect. We don't need to talk anymore about it.
There's no bad parts of the movie. We know that. Everybody that's listening to this podcast knows our thoughts and feelings on these movies.
Hell, the CG even holds up to this day.
It really does. It's a perfect movie. There you go. That's why we're taking it off the list.
Timeless.
The second movie, it's also one of me and Critter's favorite movies of all time. It's Ghostbusters.
Yep. Gotta go. Get it out of here.
So
1 and 2 spots gone. Get the fuck out.
So we already know. Those would already be on our list. We're taking them out just to not make this podcast. Because technically all we would have to do is edit some of our old podcasts into this podcast. And we wouldn't have to record.
And it's not like the list that we have is much different than some of the other stuff. Because we definitely mentioned a lot of these movies in the past.
For sure.
But, I mean... as you know, and this holds true even to this episode, we talk about those 2 movies almost every single podcast.
Yeah, and it continued in this podcast.
Yep.
So we're gonna go ahead and get into our list, and we'll start with Critter. Starting with his number 5 position.
In no particular order, mind you. So it's not like best to worst or whatever. These are just movies we think are great. If you were to tell me where's it rank, it's definitely like near my top 10, if not in my top 10, but I haven't mapped that out, so let's not go into that. But this is a perfect sci-fi action horror movie, and mind you, that's a lot to encompass, and somehow it does it, and you're like, are you for real?
Yeah. It does all 3.
Nails it. Mm-hmm. And if you were to watch it to this day, you're like, oh yeah, that's good, and it is Aliens.
It is a perfect sci-fi action horror movie.
James Cameron was just nailing it. He did Terminator, Terminator 2.
As with most things on our list tonight, this is a movie that I can put on at literally any time, and I'm going to watch it.
And when you watch it, you're waiting for something to be like looked really dated.
Yeah.
You know? And nothing truly speaks out to something that's like, oh, that looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're gonna look at, like, it's not gonna be like The Rock as Scorpion King and The Mummy Returns. You know, you're like, ooh, that passed for CG. But then again, I watched the new Flash, and I'm like, oh, that passes the CG. It's like, okay, those aren't real babies. You should have just thrown real babies out the window. You would have got a much better shot.
Aliens is my favorite Alien movie.
I agree.
Easily.
I agree.
I love the first one.
Of course.
The first one is great, obviously. It's almost a perfect movie. It probably is a perfect movie. But Aliens is such an enjoyable movie.
It's just, the rewatchability is there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tense, but not so tense that you're like, I can't, because Alien is tense.
Mm-hmm.
And it can put you on edge.
Yeah. Because it's a horror movie.
It's an invasion, home invasion movie, which, of course, you don't like.
No, it's not my favorite genre of movies.
Yeah. So you got that going for you.
And then, obviously, after this was Aliens 3, which is a good movie, but the
CG.
dog, the CG dog, just looks like dog shit.
They were like, let's do CG.
Yeah, Aliens it's fucking awesome. It's
the robot fight scene, the aliens, the like the puppetry of them, the costumes, the acting is solid. The storyline is just phenomenal. It created the mythos. It expanded the mythos of the first one to a point where you're just like, oh, this is a franchise. This will be a successful franchise through generations.
until somebody runs it into the ground.
Which is the person that started it, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, it is. I like the more recent movies. I like Prometheus. Yeah, I like that.
You
movie.
like Prometheus?
I actually like that movie.
Okay,
but I don't think of it as an Aliens movie.
I think he ruined his own franchise.
No, it was the second one, whatever was the other one.
This led into that one.
Yeah, I know.
So they ruined their entire thing.
Well, he got so much shit because of that movie that he went completely opposite of that movie, and then it was bad. And the CGI was bad in that movie.
I thought the alien part looked cool, but one of the problems is like he took something that, like, so it's called Alien, right? And maybe we were being looser with the definition now because it was created on an alien planet through alien blah 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 blah. But I mean,
Jesus
like,
Christ and everything.
Yeah, but the thing is what I really liked about it, the mentality was that maybe there was a whole planet of these motherfuckers, right? And, like, who knows what that whole planet had on it? Like, were they the apex predators? Maybe they weren't even the apex predators. Maybe there's something more badass, and they kicked them out. Because they're like, no, this is our planet. Beat it. Now, imagine how badass that... Was it predators? Were they from the same planet? That's...
I mean, speaking of, I love Aliens vs. Predator.
Yeah, but it's not perfect.
It's not, no. It's by far... It's just a fun...
It's a guilty
film.
pleasure.
Yeah,
That's a guilty pleasure movie.
And, all right, my first pick is going to be Snatch.
Damn it.
Snatch is so Snatch is like
it's a guy movie.
It's a guy movie.
Well, it's Guy Ritchie, so there you go.
And it's Guy Ritchie, yeah. But it's a perfect pinpoint that I can pick in my life where me and my roommates in college watched this movie and another movie that's on my list actually over and over and over and over again.
I love showing this movie to people.
Yeah, I do too. Especially if somebody told me they've never seen it. I'm like, oh my God, we have to watch that movie.
Yes. First of all, I love heist movies. That's that's one of my favorite genres. Mm-hmm. So like this just was great. But the downside of this movie, and this is the only downside, is that you can't pick it up from anywhere. Like, you can, as someone that watched it hundreds of times.
You already knew what happened, yeah.
But like you don't get it all until you watch it from the beginning and you do the little and you get all the quotes and everything. Oh, it's so quotable too. Just
I mean, it has I'm gonna say Brad Pitt, like just at his finest. It's got Jason Statham in it. It's got all these really good British actors.
Statham, by the way.
Statham, whatever. I'm English. I mean, I'm American. I'm English. I'm not English. I'm American, so I can say whatever I want to.
Sure, man. Just mispronounce his name to hell.
But yeah, this is one of those movies. I've probably seen this movie like 1,000 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like easily. If there was drinking happening at my apartment back in the day, this movie was probably on.
You know what though? It's a guy movie, and maybe that's a turnoff for a lot of people like now. But it's not. It is, but it's in the sense that it's just because that it's not a whole so hyper masculine that no. You feel like, oh, I'm compensating for something, but it's definitely clever, and I think that's the thing that I like about it the most.
And it's just one of those movies that's just so well acted. And if you tell somebody like the plot line of this movie,
well, first of all, there's almost no plot
line.
There
is no plot line.
It's like,
yeah.
So it's a
there is a bunch of different stories that happens inside of this movie.
And
it's one of my favorite Guy Ritchie movies, and he's kind of got away from doing these kind of Guy Ritchie type movies, but he's still.
I love that style though. When he goes back, when he did it for King Arthur.
Yeah.
Like I loved it when he
Nobody liked that movie, and I thought it was
like when they were doing their flashbacks and they told their different versions of the stories. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in.
Guy Ritchie,
I'm in.
man.
And Jude Law as a bad guy. I love that.
I like Jude Law.
Yeah,
so.
hell yeah. But anyway, like his storytelling is phenomenal. I love it when he does this. He has some couple stinkers in there after this.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes back to being a good one, rock and rolla, and then he kind of goes into a different direction, which are still good.
And he's doing Hercules from Disney, live action.
I'm for it.
I'm gonna watch it.
I'm for it.
Hercules is my favorite Disney cartoon.
Didn't he do Aladdin?
No, that was Oh, he might have did Aladdin, actually.
Aladdin.
Yeah. And I actually like Aladdin, too.
I liked Aladdin, too, yeah.
Will Smith was awesome in that
But
movie.
it was shot for shot, for the most part. All right, so from next up, since Snatch was actually on my list, I'm just going to go ahead and pick one that's essentially the same kind of movie, but it's also completely unpredictable, and it was heistish, and it's one of those things where you think if you actually you think it's this big plot line, but if you actually look at the plot from A to B, it moves like an inch instead of like it seems like it's this roundabout way, boop, right back almost to where it started, and it was lucky number 11.
It's in the same genre of Snatch.
Around the same time.
It's around the same time.
It was almost essentially a copycat, but the storyline was completely different.
Yeah.
And I loved the actors. It had everybody in it. It had Ben Kingsley, Morgan Freeman, Bruce Willis.
Josh Hartnett?
Josh Hartnett, yeah. I mean, like, Lucy Liu. Everybody was in this movie.
Yeah, this is another one of those movies. Back in the day, this was on my rotation of movies.
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
At his finest.
I didn't watch this movie as much as Snatch, but we watched this movie a lot.
Yeah, This is a good one. And what I like about this, it's Snatch, but more pretentious because less people have seen it. So you can be, if you like Snatch, you'll like this movie. Oh, you haven't seen it?
Nice.
Thank you.
As movie guys, that's our bread and butter. So I mean,
but if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's worth watching. It's fun. It keeps you guessing, and when you think something's gonna be this, honestly, when you guess it, you feel really proud about yourself too. So that's nice.
My next pick is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, Reservoir Dogs. It's the best Quentin Tarantino movie. It's debatable between this and I would argue most people will say this or Pulp Fiction, which I also say is almost a perfect movie.
It's long though.
It's long. Yeah, it's long, but it's worth it. I'm never bored in either one.
Yeah. I love Reservoir Dogs.
I wanted to put Pulp Fiction on my list too, but I felt it would be weird to put Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, but Reservoir Dogs I like better than Pulp Fiction.
Interesting, because I mean Reservoir Dogs was his first movie.
Yeah.
His first directorial debut.
Yeah, what was it before? It was like a hotel thing. What was his first movie?
No, that was.
Is it his first movie?
This was his first movie he directed,
okay, right.
But he's written a lot of movies.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
True Romance.
I like
he
that movie
wrote.
too.
He wrote with I think he co-wrote Dusk Till Dawn.
He did. Yeah. And he was in it.
Yeah. And
Dusk Till Dawn's a great movie.
Yeah, it's great.
That's also another movie I wish I can experience for the first time without anybody telling me anything about it.
Yeah, I love that.
I want to go through the whole entire movie and be like, oh, it's this cool mobster movie. Oh, fuck, vampires.
Trap vampires, too. So you have the zombie aspect plus vampires. Amazing.
But Reservoir Dogs, it's the movie everybody thinks of, this and Pulp Fiction, obviously. When you think of a Quentin Tarantino movie, it is perfect. This is one of the other
quintessential
movies. Yeah.
Tarantino, because it actually was, I think maybe even more Tarantino than Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yeah,
because
for sure.
it's more hyper-violent.
Yeah.
Which is what he tends to go towards. And even though Pulp Fiction was hyper-violent, it was not as hyper-violent as this.
No.
I mean, because this had to be pushing NC-17.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's weird to think about how many NC-17 movies are actually out there, and it's not as there's more than you think, but also not as many as you think. Because immediately you're like, I don't think I've ever seen an NC-17 movie, and then you see a list, you're like, oh, maybe I have, but is that the right cut?
Showgirls.
And I think Eyes Wide Shut and a couple other ones.
Eyes Wide Shut is so fucking bad.
But I think back then, a lot of them were just...
Showgirls, at least. I mean,
they were known as rated X.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, yeah, whatever. But this movie was great. It was action-packed. This is really where you got to see a lot of dialogue-driven movies.
For sure. Yeah.
So it feels like he was the inventor of, like, dialogue-heavy, one-shot scenes. You know, like, no cuts. Let's just keep going. Keep going.
Great cast. I mean, literally...
Great cast, but no one really super well known. I mean, yeah, you have...
I mean, there's quite a few well-known people.
Of course, there's people you recognize and stuff, but they're not like people that you're like, oh, hell yeah, that's an A-list actor.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Henry Cavill? No. Henry Cavill's in this movie.
Yeah. As a child, a baby.
No, it's a great cast. It has so many iconic scenes. Even if you haven't seen this movie, you know this movie. So
it's parodied so much.
Yeah, it really is. Even in Quentin Tarantino's his own movies later. So.
Well, he tries to canon everything he's done.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love it. Great movie. Another one where you can pick up and watch it, but it doesn't help if you don't watch it from the beginning because it's another complicated. This is where where people, I'm going to Tarantino this until the beginning till the end at the beginning. And this is where
he started it.
Well, of course it's his first movie, but goddamn, he defined it.
Yeah. And then obviously he like perfected it in Pulp Fiction.
I think this one was perfect.
Yeah, no, obviously I think it's perfect. But yeah, again, Pulp Fiction is almost interchangeable with this pick. It really is. The only reason Pulp Fiction is not on my list is because I just didn't want to put in 2 Quentin Tarantino movies and blow up his ego even more than what it is. So
that's fine. That's fine. All right, next up for me. I mean, this is going to be something that's no surprise to anybody. This is on everybody's favorite movie list, and it's Jurassic Park.
It wouldn't be on mine.
Not favorite. Not in the top 20.
I don't think so. Well, we talked about this in the last podcast. I like Jurassic Park. Do I recognize it as a perfect like a movie? Yeah, it's perfect. But it's not. I'm just fine about Jurassic Park. It's just.
I don't even know you.
I know.
Dude.
We talked about this on the last podcast.
Maybe I blocked it out because that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I hate hearing it. I hate hearing it.
I understand why people love this movie. I understand the praise that this movie gets. I understand the practical effects and the CGI on it. Everything in this movie is good. Everything's well acted. And I still just don't give a fuck about this movie. I like the movie, but I don't think it would be my top 50 movies.
That's crazy talk.
I know.
That's absolutely crazy. But anyway, so the movie's fantastic because, I mean, first of all, you have dinosaurs. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And the graphics, they hold up.
You know my favorite thing about this movie?
What?
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's like the only thing that I really, really, really enjoy about this movie. As a movie guy, I understand why this is on your list. I understand why this would be on literally everybody's list. I can't force myself to like this movie any more than I do.
It's so strange.
I know. I agree. I'm not even disagreeing with you on that.
I didn't even think this was going to turn in like it's okay to be wrong.
No.
But you know, it's not even okay to be wrong about
telling you this is completely right. There's no reason why it's not even dislike for the movie. It's just nonchalant about this movie.
Wait, were you not into dinosaurs as a kid?
No, we had this exact same conversation. Yes, like I like dinosaurs.
Man, I feel like I had to block out this entire thing.
Did you just blank this all out? This wasn't even that long ago. We had this conversation.
I was like, he's my friend. He's my friend.
I can't think less of him right now.
He just. But anyway, overall, great acting, great special effects, timeless. It is
timeless.
It will be a movie that will be studied later on, and it had so many things that went for it that broke the mold, and then reinvented stuff. Yeah. So it kind of was genre defying as a special effects heavy movie, and it also was a blockbuster movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Heavy.
Yeah. I mean, the practical effects on this movie.
You gotta respect.
You gotta respect the practical effects.
Shout out to Danger.
But yeah, belongs on your list because it wouldn't be on mine. My next movie is a more current movie. It's John Wick #1. As a modern action movie that's well acted, action scenes are great. The special effects for an action movie. And then Keanu Reeves all this balled into one. There is no fault that I can find in this movie.
I remember going to... It was like a February movie. And this is... by the way, I think that the summer blockbuster is no longer a thing. And I think that February and like fall...
As box office has been showing that.
Yeah,
so.
And I kind of feel like, like the early winter or, early spring and late fall stuff, like of showing stuff in theaters of when they put movies they don't expect to do well is over too, because they do put big movies in there now. This was like played in February. I remember going to see it, and I was like, I want to see this. I like Keanu Reeves. It's an action movie. Well, I'm just gonna go see it. There's nothing else out. Watch out. Mind blown.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, give me more. And then they did.
And then they did. Lot more. And they continue to do it. And I like all of them, by the way. I mean, they're all good, solid movies. Nothing is hit like number one has.
Yeah. Because it was surprising. Well, especially if you saw it in theater, and and everyone that was there knows it wasn't hyped up. Yeah. It wasn't anything. It was just a movie.
I didn't see it in theaters.
I did.
Yeah, and I waited until it came out, but I knew about it, and I wanted to go see it in theaters, but I just ended up not going to see it. It's emotional. You feel for the John Wick character. Keanu Reeves, I personally feel, gives some of his best fucking acting he's ever done, and I'm a giant Keanu Reeves fan.
Everybody is.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not like the guy, even if you don't think he's a good actor.
He's not the best, but first of all, he's one of those guys, you put him in there, he doesn't screw anything up. So you're like, solid. and as many bad movies as I've seen, that's astronomical as an actor to not screw something up.
And just to be on the Keanu Reeves kick, Matrix was almost on my list, the first one.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah, I love Matrix. Matrix would be in my probably top 20 movies of all fucking time. I love the Matrix. John Wick, no, I watch John Wick, no lie, at least once a week. It's on in the background or something along those lines. I know this movie back and front. I fucking just love this movie.
I think what I really love about the movie is that they think it's about a dog, and they think it's about a car, and it's like all these little things they think it's about, and it's so much deeper. It's about what those things mean, and it's just I love that about it. He's just a sentimental guy.
Yeah,
loves his wife.
Yeah, the only thing he's ever cared about, literally ever.
And then you take them away from him.
Great movie. And if you've never seen John Wick, actually, if you've never seen anything on our list that we're talking about right now, we're not breaking any kind of molds here. These are literally the best movies all ever made. So
yeah, these are going to be on lists. This is going to be on like
somebody's going to make a list like 20 years from now. It's probably going to be the same list that we're making right now. I know. Yeah. Maybe.
Well, anyway,
probably not Jurassic Park,
you haven't,
but
you are stupid. But yes, so if any of these like Snatched and Lucky Number 11 would not be on that
probably
list,
not, yeah.
But yes, they are still perfect movies. If you haven't seen any of these movies so far, definitely check them out. Obviously, you can find them almost anywhere, or rent them through Prime, whatever, or Tubi, Freevee. They're available somewhere. Next up, I have. Now, this one is going to be a deep cut. It's not deep cut, like it's not unknown, but you'll be like, never thought of that, but you were absolutely right. And it is Last Action Hero.
I'm more mad that I didn't think about putting that movie on my list.
I knew you would. As soon as you mentioned this topic, it's the first thing that popped in my head. Even before Terminator 2, but maybe that's because I was subconscious. I'm like, yeah.
But Arnold,
But something about Last Action Hero, because it took everything you love about Arnold during his heyday and parodied it, made it awesome, made it hilarious, and kind of dumb at the same time. Yeah. And then he's in it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was phenomenal.
He's in it playing Jack Slater.
Who's him? Who he
and
plays,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
who is a parody of himself, and it's just amazing. It is, honestly, if you were like, I don't care much for Arnold, watch this movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what?
The internet, used to give this movie a lot of shit. And I think people, as we gotten older, has realized this movie is fucking genius.
It's because it is genius, and that's why people didn't like it. Like, it's so stupid because blah, blah, yeah. Do you not get it?
Yeah.
It's so
supposed to be.
When this writer was writing it, he was it was like Beethoven, just swiping out like symphonies.
Last Action Hero is up there on my list. This would be probably my top 20 movies, top 30 possibly. It's also the pinball machine that I've been searching for because it's an
that was a
amazing
great
pinball machine. And they go for cheap because nobody cares about the Last Action Hero. It went up in the past couple of years, but
it has gotten more popular. I think because people are like, why have I been sleeping on this? Because it's so good, so
good.
Funny, so stupid.
Action scenes are good. It has all the cliches that you see in action movies, but just turned up to 11.
11, and it's so cheesy, but it's on purpose, and it's beautiful. And you're just kind of like, oh my god, when you watch an Arnold movie from like Commando and all his older stuff, and you're kind of like, this is super cheesy. And then he's in this movie doing the exact same things, but on purpose. Poking fun at himself, you're like,
Yeah, this is one of those other movies I probably watch every couple weeks, every 3 weeks or something like that.
And it's been a while for me, to be honest.
And my wife rolls her eyes literally every time I turn it on.
But she loves it.
I guess. Probably not, no. But yeah, Last Action Hero is it's the one on your list that I'm the most jealous that it's on your list and not mine. Getting down to the finals, this is going to be... This is the most cliche thing on my list, in my opinion, and it is The Shawshank Redemption. Now, I've talked to other movie people, and I think people don't want to admit how perfect this movie is because it is cliche to say how perfect this movie is.
Well, that's because it was perfect. People realized it was perfect. It became a parody to be perfect, so then people started hating it because it was too perfect, and now they're like, why did I hate it? It's like Nickelback.
Yeah.
No, re-listen to Nickelback. It's actually not bad. You listen to it.
I don't know. I'm not going to agree with that.
Dude, I'm just telling you because I've been playing my I've been bored on music, so I'm just playing my phone on shuffle of just the thousands of songs on there. And when Nickelback comes on, I'm like, ugh, Nickelback. And then I'm kind of, all right, this is kind of a good one.
I'm not going to agree with that. I'm totally disagreeing with you on that.
Okay, that's fine. Just listen to it. Give it.
Yeah, I have, and I do.
Okay, whatever.
It's not good.
I don't believe you.
He writes like a 16-year-old girl. Anyway, Shawshank Redemption it's a Stephen King novel.
Novella.
It stars Tim Robertson. Tim Robbins?
Tim Robbins.
Yeah, you know why I don't know his name? Because I don't like that dude. I don't like him in literally any movie. He bothers me. Oh, you know, I forgot he was in Howard the Duck.
Idiot!
Shit, I should have put that on my list.
Yeah, because you'd be fucking wrong.
You know what? You're right. Yeah, he's great in Howard the Duck. And it's Morgan Freeman. Mm-hmm. Those are the main two actors. It is them escaping from jail and this life in jail. It is so good. And this is coming from somebody that read the book before he watched the movie. And Morgan Freeman is played by, in the book is an Irish guy. Mm-hmm. And it's a perfect movie. It's also one of those movies on my list. I don't watch this movie a whole lot.
Really? No. I've watched this movie like maybe 100 times.
Yeah, no. I've seen it probably that many times, but it's not on rotation for me.
No.
I don't watch it like.
There's some emotionally draining parts in it,
for sure.
Know? And it's definitely a movie that if it comes on, I will watch it.
Yeah, I don't have like TV or cable or anything like that.
Yeah, that was back in the day when I had it, but now in the day of streaming, that's all I have.
I would have to go click on it.
I haven't done that. Yeah, you're right.
But if I'm just in the mood to be, not depressed, but more, I don't need my sci-fi
angsty.
Or horror or anything like that.
Just want to feel a little angsty.
Yeah. I'll put this movie on. It's shot so well. It's a reason why movie people hate to admit how good this movie is.
It's because it's perfect, and that's why it gets hate.
Yeah, for sure.
It was so perfect that everyone admitted it was perfect, so it became uncool to like it.
Yeah.
And now it's, again, able to be cool again because it's like, you know what? It's just good.
It's just good.
You know what? I'm going to fall in the same vein, though, because my movie is very much like that. It's one of those, like, when I say it, you're going to know exactly what it's going to be like in the same freaking vein, and it is Braveheart.
It's Braveheart.
Is it historically accurate? No. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's such a good movie. It's so, like, inspiring. It's so sad.
Brutal.
Well acted.
Perfectly acted.
Yeah, and like you kind of forget, like none of this happened.
None of it.
Like the way they describe it, they did not do this the way they described. In the sense of, there was William Wallace.
Yeah, he was a real person.
Yeah, but
this movie is, all these movies that we had on the list is movies that I've seen probably hundreds of times.
Yeah,
Braveheart is a hard. it's a hard movie.
It is a hard movie.
It's a rough movie, obviously.
I remember the first time I saw it when he was at the end. Spoiler alert, but calm down.
Castrated or whatever.
He was being drawn and quartered basically, but they were choking him.
Yeah,
and he was like he's about to say something, let him speak, and he's like freedom. That was the time I got choked up and I got weirded out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't cry.
You had emotions.
I had emotions.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was like, why do I have this thing in my throat?
What year did this movie come out?
I think it was 95.
95? Yeah, I saw this movie when I saw it in theaters right after, and I know I had it on Laserdisc too. So
this was a movie that was definitely my dad took me to. 1995.
95. Okay.
Yeah, starring Mel Gibson.
Solid movie. Again, it's Braveheart, and it's the same kind of vein as Shawshank Redemption. It is a perfect movie. It's well acted. It's not boring.
Somehow so emotionally draining, but you will watch it over and over and over and over and over again. It's weird because you're like, there's just so many good action scenes and good fun scenes, and then you're just kind of like, oh,
the crazy Irish guy, yeah.
And then you get into it and you're watching like, oh crap, I'm at deep scenes. Oh crap.
It's like 3 hours long too, isn't it?
I don't think it's that long, but it's long.
It's long.
2 hours and 58 minutes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And there's an extended cut for 3 hours and 45 minutes.
I've never seen an extended cut.
I haven't either.
Okay.
I can't imagine they put that much more money in there, that much more scenes in there.
Braveheart's awesome. So, and then my last pick is again one of those movies I watched over and over again in my college days, and pretty much everybody our age that went to college at one time or another either had a poster or watched this movie a bunch of times, and their girlfriends were really mad and everything like that because it's another one of those dude bro movies. But it's fucking perfect. Fight Club. This is yet another movie that I read the book before I watched this, and I was a giant fucking fan of the book. And then when I heard the movie was going to come out, I'm like, it's going to be so fucking bad. And then you watch the movie, and it's so close to the book. Except the ending. They changed some names. They changed the ending, which the ending for the movie is fucking way better. It's fucking perfect.
I actually read the book after I saw the movie, so I enjoyed both. But it was also one of those things when you read the book, you're like, oh, this is just the movie.
Yeah, it's just the movie.
So cool.
Yeah. This is again, two Brad Pitt movies are on my fucking list. I just realized that.
Well.
Just kind of made my love affair for Edward Norton. I just fucking love him and everything. And this is one of those other cliche things.
It's definitely considered a guy movie, but I mean, it's actually a relatively deep movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Also teaches you how to make soap, which is important. You know, if the apocalypse ever happens, at least you know how to make soap because of Fight Club.
Human fat, yeah.
Or just fat.
Just fat. Yeah. You don't have to use human fat. Yeah, so disclaimer from Somewhat Nerdy right there.
I mean, it was a fun movie. It was entertaining, and it is definitely a movie I've seen a lot,
fucking thousands of times.
And it's great because you can put it on at any time and kind of watch it. But it definitely helps to watch it from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot deeper than if you just glance through the movie. It's a lot deeper than that, and the movie has everything. It has fight scenes. It has Meatloaf.
It's true. With
man tits.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
that's right.
That's Jared Leto, actually.
Yeah.
Young Jared Leto. I forget that he's like 60 years old. He's 50 something. But
yeah.
He was in a movie. What year did this come out? 93, 95, 97. 97.
This had to be like 98.
I'm going to say 97.
All right, let's see. You owe me $50 if you're wrong. I owe you nothing.
Never made that deal.
I know. That's not the point. 1999. We were both
99. Okay. Did you see this in theaters?
I did.
Okay, yeah, I did too. Yeah, Fight Club's probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. So.
I actually, funny enough, when I was in college, early college, like 2003, we had to do a rebranding of an old product, and the product I picked was Life Buoy soap.
Okay.
And I did a
pink soap.
I did a pink soap and a thing of Brad Pitt holding it.
Nice.
As a store display.
I have a pink soap that was like reproduced like from the early 2000s. It might have been right when the movie came out. It's in storage now. It's in air conditioner storage, so it's probably melted. But yes, Fight Club is the last one on my list. It is, again, like I said earlier, this whole entire list is probably not anything groundbreaking.
And also, keep in mind, this is in no particular order.
Yeah.
So let's keep that in mind. It wasn't like from best to worst, our favorite to least favorite.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it was just
Fight Club is probably my favorite on the list.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it is. Yeah, Fight Club it's at a time in my life, this movie kind of ruled my thought process on the world.
Cool.
No, that's not cool.
Cool, man.
I'm pretty mellow now. I mean, I'm talking about early 2000s.
Oh no, this is with heavy disdain.
A lot.
This is heavy disdain. I'm like, cool, man. Like, go to therapy.
I did. So anyway, that's the end of the podcast. What were some other favorite movies that we did not talk about? There's obviously just so many. I'm going to just throw some other ones out there. Die Hard --
Yeah.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man if you want to go that old. Those two I think are as universal
because I would
movies.
put Scream in there. I mean, like
Scream. Yes.
But that's not the point. Y'all, I mean, this list could be never ending.
So what I'm really saying is, I just don't want anybody to yell at us because, like, why didn't you mention this movie? Obviously, there's so much.
We only picked 10 movies,
there
so
you go.
There's going to be a lot of yelling for movies that people like that are perfect. So
yeah,
and then they could be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you for not liking Jurassic Park, you idiot?"
This is true. This is true. Actually, I've already heard from somebody going from the last podcast, like, yeah, actually, our friend Brian, he's like, yeah, I feel the same way about Jurassic Park. It's fine.
That doesn't surprise me.
He's a movie guy.
Yeah, Brian is.
He works in movies.
Yeah, Brian's a deep movie guy, but Brian definitely has a unique perspective on movies. That dude is the deepest deep cut dude I have ever met.
We love you, Brian.
I definitely love Brian.
So anyway, go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll be back with another podcast here probably in the next few weeks, and we're doing our double feature.
Oh, yeah, we got to tell you the movies we're going to be watching so you can watch them with us. And they are both available to be seen. My movie is available on Peacock, and Chris?
Shudder. Not a sponsor, but should be. Which is now a hashtag. I started hashtagging that on Twitter. Shudder. Shout us out.
Also, I think your movie is actually on Prime.
Oh, yeah, I think it is on Prime,
too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of bullshit to me.
It is. My movie is, and we're both going with relatively new movies, too.
Yeah, and well, he picked his movie first, and when he told me, I was like, fine, is that what we're going to do? Then we're doing modern horror.
Modern horror, and that's a good or a bad thing. And mine is The Lair from 2022, which was directed by Neil Marshall. If you know the name, you'd be like, oh, maybe this movie is really good. We'll find out in the next in the next podcast.
And my movie is from 2022 called Sick, directed by John Hims. Now, this movie didn't actually come out on Peacock till 2023.
So, relatively new movies. Peacock is free, isn't it?
No.
It's not. Okay. But it's like $3, right?
$6.
So those are the two places to go to watch those movies, to go watch that. So when we review it on the next podcast, you know what we're talking about, and suffer with us or enjoy with us. Who knows? Go leave us a review on all the other podcast apps. Thank you, as always, for joining us on this podcast. You can turn it off now. Leave us the reviews. That's Critter. I'm Starf Chris.
Yeah, I'm Critter. Thanks, man.
No problem. Good journey, nerds.
Good journey, nerds.